What is going on, New York Giants fans? How you living? Hit Squad back at it with another video, and today we are going to be looking at the NFL draft. With the NFL draft inching closer towards us, should be here in about 2 weeks actually. You're going to be seeing quite a bit of content from us, and I'm very excited. I apologize for being away for a little bit, but best believe we are going to get right back into the swing of things. And what better way than to start off with a 2-round mock draft. Now, before I get started, if you haven't already, join the Hit Squad. Join the Hit Squad, hit that subscribe button, pick 6 that like button for me, and let us know your thoughts on this video below. Now let's get started. Now with this draft, I think that this is a very crucial draft for the New York Giants. We have positions of need that we can actually address that are very crucial. You look at the offensive line position, you look at the edge position, you look at the cornerback and linebacker position. You look at the guard position even. There's definitely a lot of positions of need that the New York Giants have that we could address in this draft, and I really do think that the New York Giants are in a prime position to excel in this draft. Now, at number 5, I have the New York Giants selecting offensive tackle Evan Neal. Now, while I do believe that Ikem Ekwonu is the best offensive tackle in this draft, in my honest opinion, I think that Evan Neal is a person that could really fall to the New York Giants, and if he's there at 5, best believe the New York Giants are going to take him. I think that Evan Neal is a solid prospect, 6'7", 350 pounds. I mean, he's a big deal, folks. I mean, this kid, if you could tell me that we can have Evan Neal and Andrew Thomas as your bookend tackles for the next decade, I mean, sign me up. This is a guy that you want protecting your quarterback. This is a guy that you want blocking for your running backs. I mean, you want to talk about an excellent prospect? I think that's Evan Neal. I mean, dude is a beast. Now, Evan Neal, I mean, look, let's be real. You're not going to out-physical Evan Neal at the line of scrimmage. It's just not going to happen. I mean, he explodes when he's coming out of his stance. He moves a lot lighter than what he actually is at his weight. I mean, I think that we can all agree that when you look at Evan Neal, he holds 350 pounds very well. He does not look his size at all. We saw that at the combine. I mean, dude is a beast. And I think that he's one of the players in this draft that has a high ceiling. Now, I do think that Evan Neal, he's a player that brings versatility. You know, he started at positions every year of his career while at Alabama. So that's inevitable. I mean, and in my honest opinion, that's invaluable cross-training. In my honest opinion, I think that Evan Neal is just one of those prospects that you can plug in and he ultimately betters your offensive line. And I think that, you know, while Ikem Ekwonu, again, is the best offensive tackle in this draft, I mean, honestly, you cannot go wrong with Evan Neal. You're getting a stout player, and in a year when you need to see what you have in Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley, what better way to start that than pairing him with Evan Neal? Now, there are some cons to Evan Neal. His weight is constantly over his toes as a run-pass blocker. You do see that on film. I think that Bobby Johnson could help him stop doing that. I also will say that when you look at Evan Neal on film, he does end up on the ground a little bit more often than you would want him to, and it usually comes after first contact. Now, we play in a division where we have dominant edge rushers coming off of the ball. We can't have that happening with our offensive linemen, especially when you're selecting him at 5th overall. Now, again, I think that could be coached. I think that Bobby Johnson could be the guy for us to do that. And again, I think that the risk is worth the reward. I honestly think that this is a player that you really can't miss on if you select him, and what better way to start the Joe Shane era than selecting offensive tackle Evan Neal. Now, with the 7th overall pick, I had the New York Giants selecting defensive end Kayvon Thibodeau out of Oregon. This is without a doubt my favorite player in this draft. Kayvon Thibodeau is a beast, man. I mean, 7 sacks, 14 assisted tackles, 35 solo tackles. I mean, this kid was a monster over there at Oregon. Now, I know recently people have been seeing his draft stock fall a little bit. Some are tying that towards, his comments about Alabama. Some question, his football IQ. I've also seen some people question, him as a player, and I just don't understand it. I just don't see it at all. I don't think that this is a player that takes off on plays. I don't think that this is a player that is distracted and is a player that, doesn't care about football. I think that it's quite the opposite. I think that this guy cares about football a lot. I think that he's a very intelligent person. He's a very good defensive end, and in my honest opinion, when it's all said and done, could be the best player out of this draft. Now, I gotta be real with y'all. I think that Kayvon Thibodeau probably won't be here at 7. I think that he could be taken within the top 4, and rightfully so. I mean, he was projected to go number 1 overall, and again, recently his draft stock has been falling, and I just don't understand. And I think that Kayvon Thibodeau would be a player that comes in and that's your immediate Batman on this defense, which we have not had in quite some time. I think that when you look at the New York Giants history, I mean, we're known for having bookend defensive ends. I mean, I don't even have to go into the history. You guys know this. And I think that Kayvon Thibodeau screams New York. I think that this is a player that New York Giants fans will love, and I think that he would do very well in the New York media. Kayvon Thibodeau, I think, would be an excellent piece in Wink's defense. And when you look at Kayvon Thibodeau, I think that he's a guy that could really better the players around him. I think that, he can be a guy that going forward could be a player that gets double teamed, and that's going to help out players like Leonard Williams. It's going to help players like Azeez Ojulari. I mean, we haven't had that in quite some time, and Kayvon Thibodeau would immediately be that for us. Now, again, probably won't be there at 7, but if he's there at 7, you gotta take this kid. Even if a team wants to trade up, I can't pass on this guy. I really can't pass on Kayvon Thibodeau, man. I mean, again, this guy comes in and he's easily your best defensive player that you have on your team, and you really can't go wrong with selecting him. Now, at 36, I really wanted to go in a different direction. I know some people want us to get a wide receiver. I know some people want us to get Zion Johnson or Kenyon Green, but I went in a different route. I went defensive back Jalen Petrie out of Baylor. 6 foot, he's 200 pounds. His pro comp, a lot of people have him as Buda Baker. Now, I do see that when I look on film. I think that there's pros with this guy. I do think that there are some weaknesses that some teams might see as red flags, and I think that he's a player that you could take a risk on. But again, when you look at Jalen Petrie, he played a hybrid role over there at Baylor. I mean, he was a converted linebacker to safety. I mean, he plays very well at the second level. A hard hitter. You want to talk about a hard hitter at the second level? That is Jalen Petrie. I mean, this kid, he has a very good nose for the ball, has a strong football IQ. I will say this much, while looking at his film, this kid is very good at his angles, and I think that he's a solid tackler, and I think that he could be a player that Wink takes advantage of. I mean, when you have a player that, he could play cornerback, he could play linebacker, he could play safety, I mean, he's going to be a problem for opposing offenses, and he's going to be an excellent and fun piece for Wink Martindale to use. I think that he would be an excellent piece to pair with Xavier McKinney. He could also be a player that could play, again, as your cornerback, number 2 possibly, if you don't see growth within Aaron Robinson, or you don't address it in the first round of the draft. Now, I do think while he does have some good pros to him as a player, some of his cons, again, might be seen as a red flag for some teams. For one, he has a tendency to play stiff. When you look at him in space, he lacks fluidity, and some coaches believe that it's due to his build. Now, again, he is 6 foot, he's 200 pounds, so we got some muscle onto him, but again, I mean, he's a smaller frame guy. I mean, he struggles with tight ends, big body wide receivers he struggled with in college. And I mean, in today's age of football, I mean, that to me can be a red flag. But I think that with how tough this kid is and the variety of ways that you can use him, I think that it's worth the risk for drafting him. Now, another weakness that he does have is that a lot of coaches view him as a zone coverage safety only. Now, he is very good in zone. He can read the ball very well. But when you put him in man-to-man, he has a tendency to get burnt. Now, again, when you look at Wink's defense, they don't play a lot of zone. They play a lot of man-to-man, so you would want a guy that could play that very well, which is why a lot of people want us to get Sauce Gardner. But I think that this isn't a bad selection at 36. I think that this could be a guy that Wink uses in a variety of different ways. He could be a nice piece on this defense. I think that you pair him with Xavier McKinney, Adoree Jackson. I mean, man, you're talking about a solid secondary back there. And again, with you having the ability to place him all over the field and with him having experience at 3 different positions, I mean, this guy could be a nice plug-in player for us that you're getting in the second round. But let us know your thoughts below. Do you agree with these draft picks? Do you disagree with these draft picks? Who do you believe will be there and who do you think will not be there? I really want to hear what you guys have to say. And honestly, I think that this could be a likely draft for the New York Giants. I'm going to just put that out there. I don't think that it's unreasonable to say that the New York Giants can't land either of these players. And in my honest opinion, I could see it playing out this way. But let us know your thoughts below on this video, and we'll see you guys in the next one.